Alrighty guys, hope you are doing good. So in this video, I want to walk you through the frameworks that we use in our agency to create some highly converting UGC creatives for our e-commerce brand clients. And some of these principles have allowed us to profitably scale multiple TikTok ads for our clients while at the same time decreasing their customer acquisition costs by quite a lot. But not only that, these creative principles work extremely well on other platforms, for example, on Facebook, Instagram, and also as Snapchat. For example, right here, you can actually see an ads manager from one of our clients that we are working with. For them, we are also running a few Facebook ads. And as you can see, this is only for cold scaling campaigns where we spent $61,000 and generated $217,000 in return, all by using these creative principles. And as I mentioned, this is only from cold scaling campaigns, not including retargeting ads, where the performance is even crazier. Now, for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Alex. I run a Luxury Avenue Media, which is a marketing agency that specializes in partnering up specifically with e-commerce brands and helps them scale their businesses using TikTok ads and also highly converting UGC creatives. And this document that you can actually see on my screen right now is something that we will attach right below this video, both in the description section and also in the comment section, so you can actually open it up and take a look on it by yourself as well. Now, without further ado, let's get started. So first of all, who is this exactly for, okay? So this is for e-commerce brands who are tired of the headache that comes from running Facebook ads and want to transition into TikTok. This is also for e-commerce brands who want to transition into TikTok but don't know how to actually do it, right? This is also for e-commerce brands who are already running TikTok ads but they're not performing too well. Or maybe you are already running TikTok ads and they're working really well, but you are struggling to scale profitably, right? And lastly, this is also for e-com brands who are who actually just want to figure out how to create some highly converting UGC creatives to whether that be scale or, start running the ads or go through the optimization phase, whichever point you're at. If you are in any of these stages, this is a perfect video for you to check out. Now, the first thing that I want to cover is why should you even pay attention to creatives, okay? Now, if you have been running Facebook ads, let's say, for multiple years, let's say, back in 2017, 2018, Facebook in particular, it was really about tactics, right? You could have, used a very simple image, a very simple video, and you were getting sales. And what mattered a lot is what sort of audience are you targeting, what exclusions you're using, what buttons you're pressing and stuff like that. But now things have changed and it's really all about creatives now. And this is more important even on TikTok because, with TikTok itself, it's really 80% about creatives and 20% about media buying. That's why what we have noticed is that many agencies that run ads in the e-commerce space, they have been running Facebook ads for years, and then they transition into TikTok and they think it's the exact same thing, but it's actually not. TikTok is a completely different ballgame. You need to have very specific types of creatives in order for it to actually work. So that's why, in this video, you're pretty much gonna see what sort of creatives we have been using and how have we been structuring them to create some highly converting ads for our clients, right? And when we begin working with a new client, like this is literally the part where we spend a lot of our attention on, which is obviously creating the content. This is literally where 90% of our time goes into figuring out what sort of angles are we going to use, what sort of trends we are going to tap into and stuff like that, right? And if you are already running TikTok ads, but you see that your ads not performing that well, the very first thing you should actually do is take a look on your videos. You want to pay attention on such metrics as the click-through rate and also as the watch time, so that you can see if maybe the issue is in the creators in particular, right? Because we have seen that being a very, very common issue for many e-commerce brands when they run the TikTok ads. Because the thing about TikTok is that people don't go on the platform to buy anything. They just simply go there to be entertained. That's why it's extremely important that the content that you create is extremely native for the platform. And, it's actually highly converting because else people are just simply going to scroll past your actual ad. And for example, another thing that is quite important to point out is depending on the actual budget that you're investing into TikTok ads, you need to be introducing new creatives fairly often, at least 1 to 2 new creatives every single week. And what we personally are doing once we start scaling, we usually introduce like one new creative every single day. Okay, that's typically in the scaling phase. And the other thing that's quite important to point out is that with TikTok itself, you never want to get in a position where your creatives get fatigued out, because once again, TikTok is 80% about creatives and 20% media buying. So if you get to a point where all of your creatives stop performing and you don't have any new content coming in, well, then your entire performance of the campaign is going to just simply flop. That's why what we have done is we have built out a very specific process how we go about creating content, and we have content creators that actually shoot videos every single week for our actual clients. Now, right now, you might be wondering, okay, that sounds cool, but how do you actually get these UGCs, right? Well, in our experience, there are three main ways how you can do it. The first one is use the most common creator marketplaces, for example, as Below and a few other ones. Now, we would not advise to go for platforms like that. I will explain in a minute as to why. But the second way how we can do it is by leveraging your customer reviews. We can send an email blast offering like a discount or something like that in exchange for a video review. But the issue about that is that it's you can't scale it unless if you have a very massive email list, and also you're not entirely too much in control as opposed to if you would be working with creators directly, right? Which is the third point, which is pretty much the best option that you can actually use. Now, the reason why we do not advise to go for many of these common marketplaces, such as Below, for example, you can use the TikTok Creator Marketplace. That is a good one. But other marketplaces, like from third parties, we would not highly advise to do that, because the thing about creators is that everybody can become a creator. My 11-year-old sister can be a creator as well, but it doesn't mean that she's a great creator. Okay. That's why what you want to do is you want to actually find these creators directly, okay, and you want to partner with them directly, okay, because and you also need to make sure that you have a very specific vetting process in place for vetting these guys. We have a very specific process for it to build out, which enables us to make sure that they know the platform extremely well. Okay, so that's why it's very important that you actually partner with them kind of like directly instead of using this third party marketplace in a sense, right? And the main reason for that as well is because you want to work with somebody who is in there for the long run, and like somebody that actually values the relationship way more than the short-term monetary compensation in a sense, right? So that's kind of like what it looks like. Now, the very first thing that you should actually do once you start working on your creatives is the actual creative research, okay? Because what we, for example, do, this is pretty much very majority of our time goes into when we, begin working with a new client. We pretty much analyze, what sort of content ideas are we going to use? What scripts are we going to create? We pretty much do, all the planning. And then after that, we take those ideas and we start working on the videos. Because when it comes down to your UGC creatives, your video should do either of these three things. They should either inspire, they should either entertain, or they should either educate the person and pretty much provide some new information, okay? So you want to keep these three things in mind once you actually are creating the videos. And a few ways how you can actually come up with content ideas is by using these 4 points, right? And especially, taking a look on the actual creative marketplace is something that we have seen working extremely well. And just simply also taking a look on what sort of ads have been, are actually trending right now on the TikTok platform. So you can get lots of ideas there in a sense as well. Now, once you have the actual ideas, you want to go into the shooting process. And there are three fundamentals that are very important for you to keep in mind to make sure that you have the most highest quality for the videos that you create. The first thing is the camera settings, okay? Because with TikTok, you don't need any fancy cameras to create some highly converting videos. What works better is if you actually use your iPhone. That's pretty much it. But you need to make sure that you have these settings on your iPhone, because TikTok doesn't support 4K resolution, so you want to make sure that you use full HD and also 60 FPS with HDR turned off. Okay, very, very important. And the second thing is lighting. Okay, because lighting is extremely important in high quality content. And depending on what is the actual product that you sell, the best time for you to pretty much shoot the content is 1 hour after sunrise and 1 hour before sunrise. Okay. And the other thing as well, like what we, for example, do is when we work with content creators, we typically tell them to create, content near a very large window so they get that natural lighting coming in. But what is also very important is that you do not overexpose the actual video. So like, where the sunlight is directly shining on a product, then it's gonna be overexposed and it's not gonna look too good. Okay. And what we have done as well is we have attached this slide right here that you can open up, and you can actually take a look on a few examples of UGC creatives that have great lighting. So you can take a look on a few examples in a sense. And the third point is the environment. Okay. Now, because depending on what is the product you sell, you need to make sure that the environment aligns with the product that you're pretty much promoting. For example, if you are selling a beauty product, what you can do is you can keep the background like a plain wall, right? And pretty much do it in that way. Or you can even have, the creator pretty much come closer to the camera where the background isn't really that much visible. If let's say they are applying the product on their face, right? And if you're filming, let's say like a video for a product, for a clothing product, for example, right? Then you can have a background as a plain wall, and also make sure that you don't have any messes on the ground, such as like dog toys, wires, or something else like that. Make sure it's looks professional sense. And the other point that we have actually done right here as well is we have attached 5 examples of some of the top performing UGC creatives that you can actually go ahead and pretty much use right now straight away. The first one is an unboxing video. The second one is 3 reasons why. The third one is 2-person dialogue videos, which we, by the way, have seen working very, very well. And you have probably seen these sort of videos all over TikTok if you're using the TikTok platform as well, right? So they work extremely, extremely well. Another one is things I wish I knew sooner about X. And the last one is TikTok made me buy, okay? And all of these videos are actually links that send you to an example of this video so you can take a look on it by yourself and get lots of creative inspiration ideas, okay? But the other thing that I want to point out is there are actually 4 styles of UGC that we have seen to suit absolutely any products, because there are so many different ways we can structure videos with UGC. Some of them will suit particular products more than the other ones, but these 4 right here that you can see on my screen now are something that you can leverage for pretty much any product that you might be selling, okay? Such as like unboxing videos, product in use videos, review videos, and also website ordering process videos. And by the way, once again, as I mentioned, this entire document is going to be attached right below this video in the comment section and also in the description section, so you can take a look on it yourself as well. Now, once you have actually, came up with the idea, and once you have recorded the video, the other thing that you must do is you should add the actual voiceovers, okay? And the way how you can do it is, you can either add the actual voiceovers directly when you are, creating the actual video, when you're recording it, right? Or you can pretty much film the video first and then add the voiceover in the editing part. And you can pretty much use 2 types of voiceovers typically. You can use your own voice, of course, or you can use the text-to-speech feature that TikTok offers, where pretty much there is that AI that is speaking. And we personally actually have seen the text-to-speech feature working better than using your own voice because of the fact that people are way more familiar with that, with that AI speaking than if they hear an actual real person speaking. So that is kind of like that. And you can actually see as well 2 examples of some of the UGC queries that we have created for one of our beauty clients using this text-to-speech feature. So do check that out as well. Now, when it comes down to the editing part itself, there are a few very important principles that you must follow to make sure that the actual creative is really good, okay? And the first one is making sure that you avoid using long scenes, okay? And this is something that we see many brands actually, not paying too much attention on and, kind of like mistaking it. Because what you want to do is TikTok is a platform that is extremely fast paced, okay? Like, literally when you create the video, especially the beginning of your video should be, you should have a very strong hook, because you have between 0 to 3.1 seconds to catch somebody's attention so they continue watching the video. And you need to make sure that you don't only focus, primarily on those first 3 seconds, but you want to make sure that you obviously keep the entire video extremely engaging throughout the entire thing. What I mean about it is that you cannot use very long scenes. What you want to do is you want to introduce new scenes every 3 to 4 seconds. And the reason for that is because, once again, on TikTok, people have very small attention span. So you want to introduce something new every other second. Okay. Else people are just simply going to get bored and they're going to scroll past your video. But with that being said, when it comes down to the length of the video, you don't want to create videos like 60 seconds long, because in most of the cases, nobody's going to watch the entire thing. So what you want to do is you want to keep your videos between 21 to 35 seconds long. That's typically the most optimal length for driving conversions. And this is something that TikTok themselves advise as well. Another thing is use organic TikTok features such as duets, text-to-speech, stitches, and also as comment replies. And the other thing is also that the sound is extremely important as well. So make sure that you use current trending sounds, songs, and stuff like that. And also, if you are creating these creatives not only for your TikTok ads, but also, let's say, for Facebook ads, let's say for Instagram ads, then make sure that when you are doing the editing of the video, and also when you are recording the video in the first place, that everything fits in these ratios. Okay, because with Facebook and Instagram, for example, the best ratio is 4:5, right? But on TikTok, obviously, you need to use full screen, 9:16, right? So if you're looking to use these creatives as well for Facebook and Instagram, make sure that you keep all the vital information in this ratio right here as well, in a sense. Now, the next thing that is very important is the actual text and the captions of the videos. Because even though TikTok is a platform where, it's all about sound, right? If you, for example, create a video and you don't have a sound on it at all and you try to run it, it's actually not going to get approved, right? So it's mandatory that you have the sound on. But in many cases, what you are going to notice is that once people go on TikTok and they just simply scroll through a platform, some of them are just simply not going to have the sound on. So that's why when you are creating these videos, you want to make sure that you assume that the person who is viewing the video doesn't have the sound on, right? So you need to make sure that the actual context of the video is understandable without even having the sound, turned on in the first place, right? And the way how you can do that is by obviously using text, using text on the videos, and also by using captions. But when it comes down to the text itself, you do not want to overdo it, right? Make sure that the creative is very well visible, and that you don't use too much text, of course, right? So you need to find a sweet spot. When it comes down to the text itself, here are actually 3 of the most native fonts that you can use on TikTok, which we have seen working very well. And when you do include the text in your videos, make sure that you actually stay in the safe zone, okay? Because, unfortunately, TikTok doesn't actually give you much space where you can put the text on. So that's why you need to be very strategic about it. You don't want to make sure that any important information is not visible because of all these badges that you can see on the sides. So in this box right here, this is kind of like the best place for you to actually put your text on, in a sense. So make sure that you have it there. Now, another thing that is worth pointing out are the actual creative policies, okay? Because there are a few very important points that you need to follow in order for, your ads to get approved, because you don't want to create the creative because at the end of the day, it takes so much time, okay? Like with TikTok, it's like, as I mentioned, 80% about creating content and 20% about media buying. So you don't want to spend so much time, so much effort on creating the creative and then try to launch it, and the next thing that you know is that TikTok doesn't approve because you said something wrong in the video, and then you need to re-record the entire thing, right? So that's why here are a few very important practices to keep in mind. The first thing is that make sure that you stay away from using any false claims, any exaggerated claims and stuff like that, for example, right? So here you can see a few examples actually. So keep that in mind. The other point is make sure that the landing page is consistent with the creative that you're using and with the actual product you're promoting. And that also comes down to the offers that you're using. So if, for example, you are in the video, you're mentioning that you are having a 50% discount, and then people go on your website and it's a 35% discount, well, your ad's not going to get approved as well, Okay, so make sure all the information there is consistent. And the other thing as well is don't curse in the videos. There are a few specific, words kind of like that you can use, but generally speaking, don't use the curses in the videos. That's pretty straightforward. And the other thing as well is make sure that all the grammar is good, that you don't have any misspelled words or anything like that. Um, you can actually, use you can actually, misspell a few words on purpose. We have seen that working very well in actually getting, engagement as well. Because once people see the video and they see that you misspell something, like they'll typically gonna make a comment and point that out. So that also can get you some reach as well. But you need to be very careful about it because you don't want to use too much of this technique. Because if you do it, then TikTok can actually, disapprove your ad as well. Okay. And then the last point is make sure that the video and the audio quality is good, because if the quality of the video, or let's say the audio, is very, very poor, you're just, your ads are also going to fail to review. Okay. So very, very important. And the last thing is a few very important points to keep in mind. Okay. Because with TikTok, the very first thing that is very important, this is something that you need to, carry throughout your entire process, and that is going with the flow. And what I mean about it is making sure that you create content that is extremely native for the platform. We personally have seen UGC's native looking content working the best as opposed to commercial type of videos. And, as I mentioned, people go on TikTok not to buy, but to be entertained. So the second one, once they notice that this is an ad, they're just simply going to scroll past it. So that's why you need to make sure that you go with the flow. Another thing is the first 3 seconds of the video are super important. So make sure that you have a very strong hook. And the way how you can structure it is, you can use, for example, like a very weird angle of the video. Okay. And you can also show off emotions if the person that is, in the video is, visibly seen. Let's say it's like, a skincare product that you're applying on your skin or something like that, right? And then the other thing is making sure that the call to action is very strong at the video. And also the last thing I want to point out is if you're working with creators, you don't want to provide them an entire script that they need to read word for word, because the thing with TikTok is that once people, if they see a video and they see that the creator is literally talking from a script, and let's say they're stuttering, they're not too sure what to say, they begin to panic, they don't know, they forgot the script or something like that. Well, then what happens is that, they're just simply going to scroll past the ad straight away. So that's why you need to make sure that the creators you work with, that you obviously provide them the points and specific things you want them to talk about, but don't limit their creativity. Okay, especially if you're working with the right creators. With us in particular, we have a very in-depth vetting process in place for actually vetting creators. But if you work with creators and you work with the right creators, then they will know, they will have a specific understanding of TikTok or the TikTok platform by themselves. So you want to make sure that you give them the pointers that they must mention in the video, that you educate them about the product. You give them a few examples of the videos that you have made in the past so that they can see what is your expectations like for the quality, but then allow them to add their own twist to the videos as well. Okay, especially if they know the platform quite well themselves, you want to give them that freedom, because they will be able to come up with some very creative ideas by themselves. But the most important thing is that you need to make sure that the video they create is something that feels very, very native for them, very authentic in a sense. Okay, so very, very important. And as I mentioned, this entire document is going to be attached right below this video in the description section and also in the comment section, so you can open it up and take a look on it yourself with everything in writing. Now, if you have any questions, anything that might pop in your mind, then obviously leave a comment below this video, and I'll do my best to reply as soon as possible. Once again, as I mentioned, my name is Alex, and I'm the owner of Luxury Avenue Media. We're a marketing agency that works specifically with e-commerce brands and scales them using TikTok ads and also highly converting UGC creatives. So if besides creatives itself, you might have any other questions about TikTok or marketing in general, then do leave a comment below, and I'll do my best, as I said, to reply any of the questions. But overall, hopefully you found this video valuable, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers.